I don't think
Craig
it's
is
a good
recording.
idea for Craig to be thinking. I'm just saying.
Craig is recording.
Is Craig
We're
recording?
live, yes.
But look how that turned out for Bard.
All righty. Well, good evening, everybody. It is October 23rd. This is the 207th episode of the Loose Screws podcast. I am Commander Nurgle. Joining me tonight are Commander Larkshadow and Commander Blooming Wind. JN Trax is two-timing us with that other podcast of his, and Commander Chig is in a stadium watching his beloved Vikings getting whipped on Monday Night Football. So it's just the three of us here doing space chats with buddies tonight. So, yay! Yay!
And the Vikings did get a touchdown for whatever that's worth, so I hope that's the only one they get, and it just dashes Chig's hopes.
Who are they playing?
The Niners.
49ers.
Oh, they're dead.
Yeah, they're dead. The line is minus 10.5 San Francisco the last time I checked. They're toast.
Yeah, what's the temperature, though? Is the Vikings indoors?
Yeah, it's indoors. So it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Remember, they had that other indoor stadium that after the snowpocalypse of 2016 or 17 had a couple panels fail and get filled with water, and then the whole thing collapsed in on itself while one poor groundskeeper just ran the F away. There's a video on YouTube.
How very Vikings.
Yeah, basically.
So, Commander Blooming Wind, what's going on with you this week?
Oh, well, it's been a very busy week. We went to your alma mater this weekend.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, my nephew attends Auburn, and my son wants to go to Auburn, so we had a family reunion at the football game. All my nephews were there, and we ended up tailgating at the Teak House of all places for 4 or 5 hours, and then we watched Ole Miss whip Auburn. So my wife and I were the only happy people in the entire stadium, basically.
Probably.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But we had a good old time. And there was a guy in the upper deck behind us that was trying to pick a fight with someone in the Ole Miss section. And he looked like he was going to jump to try to get into a fight with us. And I'm like, okay, this is like peak Alabama. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So I think he's one of the guys that steals stuff from your parks.
Yeah, I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say alcohol was involved.
Alcohol was involved with the entire campus. I mean,
exactly.
Alcohol at a college? That never happens.
But so I saw the pictures, so I know you got to experience Tiger Walk.
Yes,
which I admit I'm kind of biased since I am an alumni, but I've always thought that was a really fantastic tradition. I really like it. It's fun.
Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, I think it's absolutely great. Ole Miss does it too through the Grove. It's called the Walk of Champions. It's basically the same concept. Yeah, but the thing I'm impressed by with Auburn is sort of that their sense of scale. Everything's just bigger. It's a bigger school. It's a lot more people. But it had a lot of energy, and we had a great time. So I hope little Blooming Wind ends up there. I mean, I think he'd enjoy it tremendously, and get a really great education.
And having, because I graduated literally in the last century from Auburn, and when I went, they still call it the loveliest village on the plains. When I went, it was a village on the outskirts of a campus, and now it's gigantic. There's 6-7-story buildings in downtown Auburn, which may not sound like much, but when I went there, the tallest building was 2 stories off of campus. And it's grown so much I barely recognize it now. I was up there for a reunion in July, so
and
it's really different.
Yeah, the dorms seem beautiful, but like my nephew's fraternity house is an apocalyptic wasteland. I mean, like my daughter's sorority house that she lives in is like it could be in style Blueprint. I mean, it's nicer than my house, and my nephew's fraternity house, and I'm like, am I going to catch something going to the bathroom? I mean,
yes, you are.
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. And that thing you'll catch is syphilis.
Yes, something like that. But
if you're lucky.
the other thing that changed, and I mean, maybe it was just where I went to college, but the drinking games are different because, like, when I was in college, you won by not drinking. like the losers drank. And the current games that they're playing, the winners are drinking.
Yeah, they're not doing it right.
I know they're not doing it right.
That's because the youngest of the millennials and all of the Zoomers just have everything backwards as far as alcohol consumption goes. And that's going to be a slap in the face later in life, but that's why we're older.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
And then the other thing that's new in our household is our windows. So we placed all of our windows today, and somehow they did them all in one day.
I want to do that.
Nice.
I mean, it was like 15 people swarmed on our house, and it was just, they came in and they were done 8 to 2. And, while I was at work, but
that's so an okay boomer moment, but I want all my windows replaced too.
Yeah. So
okay, boomer, nothing. House needs windows.
Yeah, ours needed it. It was like drafts and drafts and drafts and seals popping, and it was wood rot. I want new windows. I want a bathroom redone. I want a kitchen redone. I want solar panels. Yeah. So the list just goes on and on. Yeah. So,
all right.
That's our week.
Cool. How about you, Lark Shadow? What's up?
I have a good segue of windows. In the place that me and my wife are renting, I actually found a date on one of the windows because they are the original ones for the house, and they have the date of 1977.
Nice.
No, it is not nice. It is not nice at all.
That's when Star Wars came out.
That's very nearly a double antique.
Yeah, it's vintage now.
Yeah. And let me guess, it's builder grade too, isn't it?
Oh, probably. I have no idea. All I know is my monitor is thicker than these things, and I have new monitors.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say about it.
I can't say much. My house was built in '84, and most of the windows are original too. So,
oh goodness. Outside of that, my week was actually mostly Warframe because I was trying to do some certain things in there, and I actually did get them accomplished. So I'm actually proud of myself. And then I played some Satisfactory for the first time in forever, and finally I'm biting the bullet. And have either of you played Satisfactory at all?
No, what is it?
No.
It's literally just a Zen factory building game. You make things to unlock tiers, to make more things to unlock more tiers. So you can make better things.
And it's kind of a build it to be most efficient type of puzzle game, isn't it?
That's the idea. I was doing that initially, but as everything got bigger and bigger, as I got more advanced things that I could make, the first level and second level of my factory just became conveyor belt spaghetti at some point. And so I'm biting the bullet and have torn the whole thing apart, stopped everything in my factory, and am rebuilding the first and second levels so it's more organized. And this week I'm playing Elite.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
We could use you.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah, it's been busy. It's been busy. All right, so I guess we're on down to me.
Yeah, we're down to you.
What's up, Marvel?
It's
so I heard some things and some stuff happened at some places.
Well, first off, I did actually get on this weekend and play some Elite and got to do some AX stuff post Update 17, which we'll kind of talk about later in the show. So today I go into work, and when I get to work, I park like 10 feet from where my offices are. I go in through a little pedestrian gate and right into the side of our offices. So I go in this morning, turn the lights on, start getting ready for the day. 5:30. 5:45, my first guy comes in the office to get the keys to his truck. They're not in the key box. And so I'm joking with him about, look, man, you're not supposed to leave your keys in the car. And, well, I didn't think I left them in the truck, yada, yada. So he goes out the door to go see if the keys are in his truck. He's not gone 30 seconds as he goes out the side door, turns around, walks right back in and says, my truck's not there. Which got the double take from me.
The record scratch.
Yeah, the record scratch. What? Go out into the yard. It's 5:30. I mean, it's almost 6 o'clock. It's pitch black. Sure enough, his truck is gone. And we start looking around. Other truck doors are open. So it's like, shit. Yeah, the yard's been burglarized. So I start getting people together, get the other supervisor in the mowing shop. And anyway, you call the police. Come to find out, at the end of the accounting, somebody had stolen 2 trucks, one from my side of the yard, one from hers. They tried to steal a big enclosed trailer, but it was too heavy for them to get it off the back of the truck it was on, which was locked and they couldn't get into, and get it onto one of the other trucks, which some idiot had left the keys in. So they couldn't do that, but they ended up screwing up the tongue in the hitch trying to do it. They hooked up to a 10-foot trailer that was just sitting in the yard, loaded a $20,000 John Deere zero-turn mower onto that they took off of another trailer.
As somebody that makes the things that go on John Deere tractors, like OEM, like we do their backup alarms and beacons and stuff.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So anyway, they ended up stealing 2 trucks, a 10-foot trailer, the John Deere zero turn, and a whole bunch of miscellaneous loose tools and stuff that they got out of trucks everywhere. I mean, they raided my work truck. They took a pair of gloves, an old hat, a wad of keys, a pair of channel locks, and a vice grip. I mean, because that's all that's in my truck.
Are there cameras around your yard?
Well, see, this is the interesting thing. Not only are there cameras all over the yard, there's a city-owned rental building that they use for Mardi Gras for balls and stuff that's on the other side of the street from us, which has like 75,000 cameras on it.
Oh my.
And on the other side of us is the building that until 6 months ago was the police precinct. And it has like a bajillion cameras.
Well, yeah, that tracks.
So, and they're city vehicles. They all have GPS trackers and cameras in them.
So I know most thieves aren't the smartest, but what do you think they were thinking?
Well, they weren't, but so yeah, the police are there. The precinct captain is down there. It's a big deal, and so yeah, we're talking to them and like, yeah, they've all got GPS trackers and cameras in them. Well, can you look up where the trucks are? It's like, well, those cameras were just installed 3 weeks ago. We don't have the software to look it up yet. We're going to have to go get Motor Pool to look it up because they have the software. And so we had to wait till 7:30 when the Motor Pool people got there, called them. GPS tracking, and then within 5 minutes of making that phone call, half of the precinct is rushing off to where this GPS coordinates are. and they called us, about 15 minutes later, said, we need you to come up here and verify, that all your stuff is here. So me and Crystal, who's the other supervisor, load the truck. We go driving up there, and they got like a dozen police cars surrounding one of our trucks that's on the road. 2 guys who look like they're having a really bad day. Sitting on the back of this truck, and sure enough, this is the truck they stole from me, the trailer, the zero turn. They filled the bed with a lot of the stuff they got out of our yard and other junk that they've picked up from God knows where. And they were actually in the act of selling the zero turn and the trailer for crack. They had dropped the trailer and another guy was hooking up to it. Police got there. He drove off. They ended up catching him later. And no, I have no idea how much crack a zero turn goes for at this point. I kind of forgot to ask.
Probably not enough. I'm just going to float that out there.
I'm guessing not a lot. And so we're standing there talking, and I'm talking to the police captain while we're moving vehicles around so we can get the truck in and hook up to this trailer. And I said, I'm really disappointed in the quality of criminals we have today. And he kind of looked at me funny, and I said, think about it. These guys could have gone anywhere out into the sticks and stolen something out of somebody's yard and had a reasonable chance of disappearing into the night without enough information for anybody to ever catch them. But no, they went on to a marked, lit, camera-covered city lot, stole 2 trucks with city emblems all over the side and municipal tags that have GPS tracking and cameras. They have to know.
Well, I mean,
when you steal this, when you steal this from the city, we're going to come get that shit back.
I mean, think about it. The reason they stole from there is because you had lights on. They could see what they were doing.
You could see what they were doing. But I mean, they were courteous when they left. They locked the gate behind them. But the question still remains how they got in. Because again, the gates were all locked when we left. and the gates were all locked when we got back. So, and there's barbed wire all over the top of the fence. So, feels like an inside job to me.
They could have snuck in and hid.
They could. That's true. They could have snuck in and hid. But then, how did they get out?
They drove out. They got the keys were in the car.
Yeah.
Isn't there a key to the lock?
No. None of and I checked. That was a question of mine. But none of the keys. There were 2 sets of keys that were left in trucks. Neither one of those had the gate key on it. Because most guys, and I didn't think about it at the time, but I do this with my own set of keys. I keep the gate key separate from my vehicle keys, so if I drive up, I can leave the vehicle running while I get out and unlock the gate. It's a separate set of keys.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It made sense completely after I thought about it. But so there's a whole bunch in the air about what's going on there. Police are all over it though. So it was then they tell us, take the truck to the police evidence yard and just unload the stuff that's not yours for the evidence clerk. Okay, so we drive the truck over there, get the evidence clerk who looks at it and goes, I'm not taking any of that shit without a detective tagging it into evidence. You can't leave that here.
Shocking.
Which, again, if I had thought about it, I probably would have known that was going to happen. So, all right, we take it back to our yard and we're taking our stuff out of it. So we're going through the damn truck. It's got all sorts of crap in the back of it. They apparently also stole like 50 hair dryers from various hotels and had them all stuffed into duffel bags in the back of this. So am I missing some hidden market for really bad hotel hair dryers?
This just keeps getting better and better.
Well, clearly they were on crack before they decided to steal the vehicle. So we're going. I think
with all of the marketplaces like Facebook Marketplace and Etsy and all that a lot of stolen stuff is getting fenced to unknown people.
But is there really a market for cheap hotel hair dryers?
300 billion people if the price is right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you got a point. So we're going through the truck, and in the middle of going through the truck, one of my guys opens up a bag in the back of the truck and yells, "Gun!" Like, all right, everybody get away from the truck. Somebody call the lieutenant.
There was a gun.
There was a gun. Yeah, there was a 9mm in the back. So we had to back away from the vehicle till the police got there, took pictures of everything, and took the gun into custody. But I
bet you anything that gun was stolen too.
Oh, no doubt. Especially considering it was just shoved in a bag, and there was no clip in it. But yeah.
Was everyone afraid of the gun? So they were saying, "Oh my God, back off!" Or what's what's the yelling for?
It's evidence.
Okay. Yeah, because when I was a resident at the Philadelphia VA hospital, there was this code called in the parking lot one night, and we raced to the parking lot, and everyone who is a VA employee stops at the threshold of the parking lot because they're we can't cross, but since we were University of Pennsylvania residents, working at the VA, we could. So we race. This guy's unconscious. We start doing CPR. The ambulance comes. We load him up in the ambulance, get him over to Penn. Because they're well, we're not going to take this guy because we don't know him or whatever. And then we kind of look in the car, and there's a brown paper bag on the floor. And there's a whole lot of cash. There's a handgun, and there's an albuterol inhaler. And so basically the way we put it together was that the guy was getting away from wherever he robbed, and he went into a respiratory arrest. And so he decided to come to the hospital, and he crashed his car into one of the pylons in the or one of the columns in the parking lot. And then here we were, resuscitating, and this guy had a respiratory arrest.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, don't even get me started. I spent 25 years working in a level 1 trauma center. So
having a respiratory arrest after you rob someone is God's way of saying, knock that crap off.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
You done messed up, son.
Yeah.
So I literally didn't even eat lunch today. I was mainlining coffee most of the day.
Oh no.
Because we got finished doing everything at 1:00 this afternoon, and it was a day. It was a day I don't want to have again. Even though we ended up getting everything back, I mean, I think the only thing we're still missing is, a couple of hats and a pair of channel locks. So we got everything back, but it was a long day. It was a long.
Oh my gosh, dude.
That's rough.
Yeah, it was bad. But
yeah, I think Norval wins worst Monday competition this week.
And I was telling one of the officers because they started joking about what is it when you parks people after the guy tried to steal the bleachers last year. It's like, hey, those were my bleachers. That's too soon, man.
Yeah,
but apparently we're magnets for this crap. I don't know why, but hey, it is what it is. All right, so let's. How about we have a squad update?
All right,
and since none of us bothered to install a soundboard, we're going to do the sound effects, unless Trax is listening and wants to just squeeze it in right here.
Either way, I'm going to go.
I knew we could count on you, Lark Shadow.
You're welcome.
Alrighty, so we have another war in Bagalis. Yes, another war in Bagalis. We're just slowly working our way back to second place because our friends, the Exiles, also known as Utla Garnier, have basically what they did was they moved the controlling faction out of the system and then entered the system and worked their way up to the top. And so they were putting us back in second where they found us originally before all of their social engineering because they did not want to retreat us out of the system as a courtesy. So it's taken them like 2 months to do this.
We've had systems like that. That's a feel.
Yeah,
they're good people. We have an election in Graham. The voter turnout has been abysmal. Today's day 6, and it's 0-0. But in his true Chicago way, Bork did 10 missions.
Yeah,
so we got 10 votes in. Proud of that guy.
Thanks, Mark.
Right there at the end, closing it out strong.
Yeah. It's a little jump in the votes. All righty. So we found these in the back of an Anaconda. All right.
Yeah.
So we're trying to push HIP 4907 into expansion. The presumed target is LP29-188. I've been working this system really hard to get a faction into retreat. They should be retreating any day now. I haven't been able to look and see because I've been doing other things when I've been playing. But I'll probably check out that system tonight to see if it's on.
Inara shows them as still there, but it's not updated yet. So
yeah. And then
what was the system name?
LP29-188. So it's one of these ones up by Dirac and HIP 4907 in the upper portion of screw space. And we're just trying to get it, continue our expansion program up in that area. So that's a system.
Okay. Per note I saw from you earlier, I may be running missions for the wrong system.
That's okay. That's okay. It's true Lark Shadow fashion. And then we don't mind. KZ Andromeda is on fire and needs to be put out. 6 Andromeda has gone into boom, and the silver prices are through the roof. So we need someone to beat them down too. So 6A is one of those systems that overheats whenever they go into boom because everyone comes and sells their silver there.
Right.
BD plus 44, 4389 and Alexandrinus need a little bit of love. They're kind of sagging in influence. And then with their consent, we're starting the process of retreating the Centurion Hierarchy out of LP 27-9. About a month ago, they accidentally expanded. I put a lot of work into getting a faction to retreat out of that system for us. We go into expansion, and then they went in the day before us accidentally and landed there. And so they were like, sorry. And so
I was doing missions for the right system. I just had them confused.
Yeah, you're just getting a jump on that system. So we appreciate that.
Carrying on.
Yep. And then details can be found in our standing orders. There's something in there for everybody to do. And they're in the standing orders channel of our Loose Screws faction Discord. And if you have any questions, one of us is around to ask.
And we love talking about this stuff. So,
and if nothing else, I can just make crap up until one of the lieutenants or admirals arrive.
Yeah, but you're really good at that. So.
In true Lark fashion.
Though.
In true Lark fashion. All right, so we don't have a Bard segment for this week. Bard is slacking, didn't do one.
No, Bard deserves some time off because he took over, and that's a lot of work.
Bard's in solitary because he took over, and that's a lot of work.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that works.
I think he's on one of those prison megaships, out by Daxie's Folly.
Yeah.
With his android.
Actually, as bad as he is, they strapped him on the outside of that asteroid station out there. Yeah.
The android is strapped to the window of whatever cell Bard is in. And Bard can see the little mouth lighting up as he's talking, but he can't hear anything.
I don't know. I think it would be worse if he could hear him.
Yeah, definitely would be worse.
Yeah. So we'll move right into, so there's no Bard segment. We don't have an exploration report. We'll move right into dev news because rumor has it.
We got Galnet news, though. We should say something about the Galnet news. I mean, today.
Is there meaningful Galnet news?
Well, ever since they kicked Rackham out, there's no meaningful Galnet news.
They elected the entirely predictable candidate, and newsflash, the soon-to-be Thargoid zombies that we have extracted with explosive missiles from Titans are being kept in isolation until we find out whether they're dangerous or not.
Newsflash from the future.
They are the Halloween.
They probably are.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're coming up on Halloween. We have freshly rescued future zombies from the Thargoids. You can't make this up. I mean, the writing is on the wall here.
But they're giving us the means to get slaughtered by them. So
I mean, I don't care. Yeah. It sounds fun to me either way.
I just hope that they have the balls to have on-foot combat inside a station when all these Thargoid zombie people break loose. What are we going to call them?
Argombies?
If it becomes that, I've been going with Husiloids.
Husiloids? Man-bear pig.
Human and... hey, there we go.
Man-bear pig.
Human and Thargoid, and I just put a Z in there because I thought it sounded cool.
Man-bear pig.
You're a man-bear pig.
Well, that's true. All right,
I am too, arguably. So
I want Somgoids.
Somgoid? Yeah, maybe. That could work.
Somgoids.
I can see that. So anyway, rumor has it there was an update 17 last week, and that there was a whole bunch of stuff that changed. So we have the new spires at the AX sites, which are pretty cool if you haven't had a chance to go out to one. And they are huge.
I have tried going out to them 3 times, and I died all 3 times because of hyperdictions.
Saturday night.
Okay, I'll go through it. First hyperdiction. It was 4 Cyclopses. I was in the Diamondback Scout that one because I thought, hey, low heat, and it was pretty fast. And I got away from 3 of them, but the 4th took out my engines, and then the other 3 caught up.
Not fast enough to get away from a Cyclops.
Well, that's where I'm headed.
Yeah, it could be faster. There's more engineering to do on that ship. I'll admit that. So I went back with my Viper Mark III because that thing is a freaking rocket ship. It boosts to 520.
Oh, not enough.
Yeah, I got high. Well, I mean, in theory, it could have been enough, but I got hyperdicted by a Hydra and his basilisk friend. That did not go well for my poor Viper.
It did not end well, no.
No. And then the 3rd time, it was just a cloud of freaking hunters. And I was in a ship. I was in just whatever random medium ship. I think it might have been my Crusader. And I know that isn't fast enough to get away. So I just turned to fight because I was pissed off and they killed me. And then I rage quit for a week.
Yeah. So I went out Saturday night. I logged on. Trax, Scotty, and Bort were out at one of the sites. So I went out, picked up my AX ship. Now, this comes with a disclaimer. So I am not a big AX person. And it's not that I have anything against AX. I actually find it quite interesting. It's just that I have a very limited amount of time to play, and I made the decision that I was just not going to invest in picking up all the AX stuff and learning all of the the special stuff you need to learn to actually do AX combat, because it's just not worth the time investment for me.
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
that's a me choice.
Yeah.
But went out to join them at the Thargoid Spires because the Spires are something that don't require all the specialized Thargoid stuff to fight.
Right.
So I picked up my Thargoid CZ ship, which is completely non-meta. It's a cutter.
Yes.
And it's just filled with AX multi-cannons, a couple of thermal vent lasers, shields, lots of hull reinforcement. And I built the thing at the beginning of the Thargoid War with this expressed intention of cruising around CZs, mopping up all of the scouts and that type of stuff, and tagging the occasional interceptors, while the people who actually could fight those things fought those things. I would keep everything else off their back. And I went out to the Spire site with the same theory in mind, that I was going to hit some some of the bigger Thargoids when they showed up. I was going to keep the scouts off everybody else's back. I knew what I was getting into.
I've seen streams. It's way different out there.
So I misjudged my approach to the planet, dropped 120 clicks from the Spire.
Ouch.
You can see it at 120 clicks.
You can see it from orbit on some of the files.
Yeah, you can see it from orbit. They are that big. Which is why, if you get a chance, you really need to go out and check these things out, because they are cool. And then I got in there, and the bugs started occurring. Trax was there in his AX Missiles FDL, and he had 2 hardpoints that would fire 1 or 2 rockets and then stop working until he logged back in.
That is so weird, and I wonder if that was just a him thing.
And he tried logging, and they came back on and then shut off again. He tried going back to a carrier and swapping the hardpoints around. Same hardpoints did it when you changed modules. And it's apparently a known bug. There's an issue tracker for it that rarely happens, but happens. I had issues with, I would take module damage, and those modules would completely cease working forever. I had, while they were fighting, a Thargoid, I'm dealing with a swarm of like 8 or 9 scouts. And trust me, with 5 AX multi-cannons and a couple of heat thermal vent lasers, the life expectancy for a scout when my cutter draws a bead on it is about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's got shield and hull reinforcement. It can take the beating. But when you're fighting, a dozen of them, you're going to end up taking some hull damage. I took some module damage. I had to reboot a couple of modules, run an AFMU, go flying back to a carrier to do actual repairs, get to the carrier. Yes, I'm one of those Luddites who has docking computers and Super Cruise Assist because, hey, I like playing that way. Get into the carrier, hit auto dock, nothing happens. Jump back to Super Cruise, jump back in, hit auto dock, nothing happens. Screw it. Go in, land manually, because I can do that. I'm not a complete idiot. Some parts are missing. Do a complete repair on the ship, take off, hit auto launch. Nothing happens. Hit auto launch again. Nothing happens. Log to the menu, come back, hit auto launch. Nothing happens. Okay, fine. I'll take off manually. Take off, fly out. Can't go to Super Cruise. Can't go to Super Cruise. Can't go to Super Cruise.
Okay, all of that, I don't know about what was going on with Trax, but everything that was happening with you sounds like desync netcode bullcrap.
So after a couple chances of trying to go, a couple of tries trying to go to Super Cruise, I noticed I have no pips.
What?
0. No pips in any of the 3 categories because I had taken power distributor damage that I had just repaired at a carrier, but the pips had not come back. And that was the point at which I said, you know what? I'm done. And I know that it irks me because this is far from my first experience, but there are other people out there who this is going to be their first experience with Thargoid combat. And if they're hitting these kind of bugs in systems that have been in the game from the beginning that now have these bizarre bugs just because of update 17, what's that going to do to these people? The people who have decided, who are one step behind me, who this is really their first encounter with Thargoid combat. They've slapped a couple of AX cannons on a ship and they're going to go give it a shot, and suddenly shit stops working. They're probably not going to continue with that level of content. And I find that very frustrating because when it works, it's really fun. But that comes with the caveat of when it works. So
how is it like? How your modules not working? But then I've seen some videos of some other people screwing around or whatever, not even talking about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, it's weird.
It's not everybody. It doesn't hit everybody. It's random. I have a feeling if it happened more commonly, this probably wouldn't have made it to live. I'll give them that. But
yeah, my question is, how is it you guys always get the really rare, weird breaking bugs?
I'm sure we're not the only ones. It just so happens we're the ones that come on a podcast and talk about it.
I mean, fair.
Little confirmation bias there.
Yeah.
I mean, do y'all use like Steam or something? I mean, could it be something like that? I mean, I know the launcher shouldn't matter, but I mean,
yeah, the launcher shouldn't matter.
Because I use Steam and I've never had issues except the occasional black screen.
Yeah, I mean, my setup is very basic. I mean, I have a PC. It has a web browser that I've pretty much only gone to my account's Gmail, and I have a dedicated email for Elite, and then I have Elite. And that's like all that's on the computer, and I really don't ever seem to have any problems.
So you're one of those Mac guys.
I'm a Mac guy, so yeah. So I use my Mac for stuff, and then I use my PC for playing Elite.
Yeah,
like that's it. I mean, that's really it. So,
but it's a bug on their end.
Yeah.
Trax. I haven't seen anything about the module issues, but of course I haven't looked that hard either. Trax went out there and found there's an existing whatchamacallit thing on forums on FDev's issue tracker for the weapons not working. So that's a known bug at this point.
Neato.
And
good news. A stability and bug fix patch is coming in November.
Late November.
But still November.
Yeah. I am always up for stability and bug fixes. That is always good news. I will be, because this is just me being crazy. I don't think a stability and a bug fix patch should have a whole number unto itself. It better not be update 18. It should be like 17.1, because I think increments in the update numbers should come with new features, but that's just me. They can number it however they feel like numbering it. But of course, neither of y'all has been out to one of the spires yet, have you?
Not for lack of trying.
I haven't figured out what kind of ship I want to have equipped for it. I mean, I guess I could slap my AX guns on my current anti-Xeno ship and get rid of all my Guardian equipment off of it. But I mean, that's
for Lark. For Lark, minimum of probably 500 will be enough, because I think the fastest Thargoid is 530 or 540. But you can probably get away with 500.
Yeah, and I've been told by other streamers when I've asked like that with a Basilisk specifically, it's fast in a straight line but doesn't turn well, so boost at it and then go back around and then back the way you were going.
Yeah, get it spinning.
Yeah, and I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah,
so
neither did I.
That was working against me.
Yeah, they can't turn.
And then if you're gonna go there solo, Orthruses are the things you're going to end up hunting, and you're going to want the AX missiles, because that's the only thing with enough DPS to kill one before it gets away. If you're going to go there as part of a wing, AX cannons are fine. You'll have more than enough DPS to handle it.
Yeah, I'm looking at building a FAS because fully loaded with armor and a OK shield, it still does 528, I think it was. And it also has almost 3,000 armor. So,
Yeah. And then just make sure you have a Thargoid pulse neutralizer because everything out there sends off a Thargoid pulse and you'll get shut down a lot. Not there. The only thing you're going to find at the Spire site is going to be scouts, Ortherses, and I think the occasional interceptor that shows up.
Okay.
But of course, you have to go through Thargoid space to get there, so you can get intercepted by you can get interdicted by anything.
yeah, but best jump case scenario, with all 3 tries I did, I still had to do 2 jumps through Thargoid controlled systems no matter what I did.
Yeah. And in one of the trips back into the system Saturday night, I got interdicted, not hyperdicted, but interdicted by a hunter, and like, oh, well, you're stuck in here with me now because I've got AX multi-cannons.
I need to go pick up the gimbaled AX multi-cannons. I want those for my ship.
Yeah, I have a whole bunch of those. The only things I don't have are the things you need for the maelstroms. Because I haven't bothered to go do the Grelic thing, and then I know some of you guys have a couple that you'll sell me, but I mean I don't have a Grelic thing, and then I have to go into the Maelstrom and get some bits to get the caustic sinks and things like that. So
I ought to knuckle down and do caustic sinks because those are generally useful.
Yeah. So, and I'm thinking of actually building like kind of an Axe Anaconda for some of these like as a support ship things. Yeah, just like you did, but with the cannons and maybe be able to do things like the spires with it and all that. Although I guess it needs something smaller to have a landing site. But
I was gonna say maybe we should both make anacondas because neither of us have a use for one.
I just built one. I just built an anaconda. So I got tired of like swapping out one of my shield boosters for a for point defense on my Corvette. So I just said, you know what? Let me just build a dedicated ship that just does the cargo salvage thing, and then a separate one that does all the assassination missions. And so I have my murder conda, and then I said, you know what? I have all these free paint jobs for the Anaconda, and I haven't had an Anaconda. I've played this game since right when the pandemic started, and I don't have an Anaconda. So
I've never owned one.
Yeah.
I have for a while until I decided I like the T10 more.
Yeah. I mean, I've never owned an Anaconda, but I have 4 cutter hulls. So
So I just decided, you know what, build one. So I built one.
Nice.
So I might build another for the AX.
Don't worry about trying to land it out there because if you're going to go in on foot, you're going to land farther away from the spires, so the things flying around don't attack your ship. And if you're going to try to land on the spires, those landing pads are enormous, and you can land anything on them. So,
that's good. At least they made that easy. So, but they have a little nugget. So, I was watching one of the videos, and if you do certain things, there's like this altar, and this nugget comes out of the altar. And I mean, does anyone know what that's for yet? Or
nope, not that I've heard.
Clearly, to sacrifice to the Nugget Lord.
Probably. So
Thargoid nugget.
Yeah.
Thargoid nugget.
I'll bet you it's for the zombies.
Yeah, don't Thargoid nuggets. Don't those come in a 6-pack at the drive-thru?
No, they don't come in 6-pack. I mean, I know about Bucky nuggets that you can get at Bucky's, but
Yeah, well.
But I have this theory that that is sort of the equivalent of the Guardian sites for whatever's looming, because either it's going to allow us to make on-foot weapons to kill zombies with because they're going to be unkillable until something, or there's going to be the whole Guardian AI thing that people are all simping for, and it's like this is the way that you get your Thargoid tech to fight your Guardian tech.
I kind of think that's the way we're headed. But
me too, and I'm perfectly okay with that if that happens.
Yeah. I would be perfectly okay with the tyranny of the Guardian AI. I think that would be awesome.
I for one welcome our new Salvation Overlords just because it would make Psychic mad.
It would. It certainly would.
Hey, I'm
Right.
just saying.
So I also there was a Frameshift live today, and I know I didn't get a chance to see it. Lark did see it, and I know Blooming Wind saw it but didn't hear it.
Yeah.
So did anything worth mentioning happen in that?
Lark?
Sorry, I'm sneaking around trying not to get caught for the fact that I've killed 3 people here already. Oh, let me hide.
He's multitasking.
So yeah, the stream I thought was a lot of fun. It was like a normal Halloween stream in that there was some weird thing going on the whole time that they never even addressed, which was hilarious. And how do I turn my light on and off again? There's that button. And sorry. And
Stream of consciousness. Stream of consciousness.
Yeah, they basically recapped everything. That was actually the part I missed. I came in when Max had just come back on, and they were talking about how the Banshees kind of help try and control the battlefield, and with the hive mind with all the other Thargoids, and calling backup if they think they need it in the form of like scouts and interceptors and on and on.
Right.
And Max, one of the, I don't remember which, but one of the CMs said something about some of the players might think you're out to get them. And he goes, "Oh, we are." Which I thought was just delightful.
Yeah, it's not really a secret.
No, it's not. He also confirmed that, yes, he sometimes logs into the game in his developer mode and just goes around to random commanders who are doing the new stuff and watches them.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
Invisibly.
Yeah.
And I want to be mad about that, but honestly, if I had a dev account, I'd do the same thing. So,
oh yeah,
I don't blame him.
Have y'all ever read Reamd by
Read
Neil
what?
Stephenson?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so Reamd was this novel by this guy, author Neil Stephenson. He wrote Cryptonomicon, and he wrote a whole bunch of other speculative fiction, Snow Crash. Great author. Anyway, so he wrote this book called Reamd, probably about maybe 10 years ago now. But what it was about was this software developer who creates a World of Warcraft game. But the World of Warcraft game's world has, only like a finite amount of gold. And they allow gold farming, which is the idea that you can pay somebody to,
Oh, that can only end well.
Yeah, no, it's really fascinating because there's a whole thing about it with money laundering and a whole bunch of other stuff. But one of the things was that this guy he was kind of like a Lord British kind of figure as far as pop culture wise and whatever. And so he would go into God mode and he would watch players play and kind of look over things or whatever. And there was like this one point where this hacker killed him. And he just couldn't get over that. And then there was a whole bunch of other stuff that happens in the story. But anyway, so the idea of Max going into like God mode and like stalking players, if there was like some way someone like took him out.
It's glorious, isn't it?
I'm a hacker. So that's a challenge to people who violate the terms of service out there. I'm not encouraging it, but if you do, instead of turning your ship into a basilisk, maybe, turn on, way to detect the cloaking device on Max.
Yeah, use your powers for good.
Yeah, I was going to say, want to get the devs full and complete attention in getting you removed permanently? That's how you do that.
That's exactly how you do that, yes.
Or it's how you get hired, one of the two.
Yeah, reminds me, that story of the early days of Guild Wars 2 with ArenaNet. They actually, in one of the bigger cities, I can't remember what the name of it is, it had a big old, like, Minas Tirith style, like, drop off from the highest level where the king and queen and on were, right? And they actually caught someone who had been hacking and giving themselves levels and rare weapons and like killing other players with it, just on and on. And so they stripped that character naked, took him to the top of that thing in the main city, made a big spectacle of it and him, and then dropped him off of the thing. And when he hit the ground and died, he was banned forever. Oh, good times.
Yeah. All right. Anything else we need to
And-
say about Frameshift Live?
Yes, during the stream, at random intervals, there kept being like this weird static. Well, it started out as static. It eventually started sounding like clicky and kind of Thargoidy. And when it started to sound more defined and more like Thargoid, when that sound would interlude, at one point, the video feed switched to Arf just like scribbling on some paper, and then a quick cut to him holding up the paper, and it said, "Help." And then it went back to them just talking, and they didn't even acknowledge that it happened. And then there was this other one with Sally where it quick cut to her, and she has her purse and is just swinging it all over the place like she's trying to kill bugs, and then it just quick cuts back. And again, they never acknowledged it. And then at the very end of the stream, this one actually got me. The noise started coming in again, and it was clearly Thargoid in origin this time. Like sound-wise, you could tell if you've been around this game. And then it did a really quick cut to Arf, like right up on the camera with a scream. And that actually made me jump. I'm not going to lie. They got me. And then after that, a new model for some on-foot fashion elite, which if you ask me is the true endgame, walked in, pointed at the camera, and then walked out. And it looked not unlike Reaper from Overwatch, and I am all over that. It looked so cool. So at some point, there may be some new cosmetics for on-foot stuff coming.
Well, if they're smart, they'll do that type of stuff. They'll put it in a store for arcs, and they'll actually try to print a little bit of cash.
I know, right? It's weird.
I know. It's funny how that works. You make interesting cosmetics that people... It's amazing how that works.
So,
I mean, I'd love to give them some money.
All right, so...
and slight tangent.
Give me a reason.
Slight tangent. Speaking of stupid things that FDev has done in the past, I actually made a connection from a completely different game to things FDev have done, and it made me laugh so hard. So today, a trailer came out for Squadron 42. Do either of you know what that is?
I've heard of Squadron 42.
Squadron 42 is supposed to be a single-player version of what Star Citizen is trying to be. So it's basically like a successor to Wing Commander, right?
Gotcha.
Bear in mind, this has been, in theory, being as worked on as long as freaking Star Citizen at this point, so keep that in mind.
Of course.
But they released a trailer, and everyone on Reddit and gaming sites was just ripping into it because it seems like the majority of the internet is starting to get sick of Star Citizen's crap, right? But one thing specifically that the developer of Star Citizen, I can't remember their name, said about the trailer when asked, because, sorry, got all the thoughts twisted in my head. Let me rewind. So if you watch the trailer, there's some very noticeable points in the trailer where you actually see in-game lag in the trailer, right? Squadron 42's developer, who also makes Star Citizen, was asked about this, and their response was, quote, "Oh, that was a different development branch," unquote.
Oh.
And I laughed and laughed.
Yeah. I wouldn't expect them to learn from FDev mistakes, but guys, you should learn from FDev's mistake.
Oh, seriously, like seeing all the people calling it out in every thread I could about that was just so funny. Considering that's how Odyssey launched.
there's a lot of crossover between those communities too, so they know.
Oh yeah, they will not be burned twice.
Yeah. All right, we ready to do some fluff and wrap this up?
Yeah.
I'm down for fluff.
All right. I do have to insert one little chig chat. I need to extend congratulations to Jay and Trax for making Triple Elite. Good job, buddy. We're proud of you. Way to go.
Hey, good job, Trax. Triple elite. Getting up there.
Getting there. Yeah. I mean, it's only, 6-7 years into this game. He's finally made it. Good deal. And then we have 2 movie anniversaries this week. Well, one of them is actually from over the weekend, but I wanted to include it because I know it didn't get included last week, and that is The Right Stuff, which is 40 years old.
Good crap.
As of the Saturday behind us, 40 years. But that's a great movie. Just a great movie.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic movie. I probably watched it on TV about 2 or 3 dozen times growing up, and at one point, it was on, and I recorded it, and I just told Little Blooming Wind, I was like, "Son, you have to watch this movie. You are not a man until you watch this movie."
To watch this movie, yeah.
And he is like, "That is one of the greatest movies of all time." And Chuck Yeager is the greatest astronaut of all time, and he never went into space. He was just like, Chuck Yeager is so cool. The rest of them suck, but he's cool.
Chuck Yeager is awesome. Yes, Chuck Yeager is awesome.
I did so many book reports on him in school. Dude was my hero.
And then the other movie anniversary is The Wiz, 45 years tomorrow.
Dang, that's that old?
Yeah.
Man.
Not as good as The Right Stuff.
No, it's not. Right Stuff is in a category by itself, which is why, even though it was last week's movie anniversary, I included it this week. Wanted to make sure it got mentioned. I still can't believe it's 40 years, but yeah. All right. So anything else we need to add before I wrap this thing up?
If it mission tells you to kill technicians and you kill a guard because you have to, it doesn't count toward killing the mission technicians.
Working as intended.
Yeah, I was hoping it would, but
Well, you lucked out.
Yep.
Now I have a bounty for no reason.
So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. If you like the show, please rate and review us on the podcast player of your choice. It really helps people find the show. You can come and join us on Discord. The link is in the show notes. You can check out our merch store at loosescrewsed.com for mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, and more. You can also support us on Patreon. On Patreon.
Just lean into that Alabama, man.
Just lean into that Alabama accent. All right, I am Commander Nurgle for Commander Bloomingwind and Commander Larkshadow. Thank you for joining us tonight for space for space chat with buddies.
Chat buddies space.
Have a good night, everybody.
Everybody, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Successful. Engines disengaged.